Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. Today we are talking about challenge rivalries. Throughout the show's history, there have been blood feuds like Wes and Kenny, CT and Adam, Laurel and Kara, people who legitimately hated each other being partnered together and forced to compete. This video isn't talking about those rivalries. This video is talking about the rivalries that are fake as hell. In this video, I'm going to break down 5 of the challenge rival partnerships from Rivals 1, Rivals 2, Rivals 3, and Final Reckoning that have the least amount of depth to them. It's important to remember we are talking about the rivalries before they entered the season and how they were formed rather than what actually happened on the season. Sometimes they put two strangers together and they created more of a rivalry than what existed prior. Along with that, before we jump into the top 5, I'm going to mention there is the partnership of Leroy Garrett and Mike Ross, which I am personally just not counting as a rivalry because they were two friends playing together and they even acknowledged that on TV. In 5th place is the fake rivalry between Cara Maria Sorbello and Heather Cook for Challenge Rivals 2. Their rivalry began with Cara Maria sending a foot-in-mouth tweet towards Heather Cook, then deleting it, and it created a beef between the two, but compared to other rivalries where people had on-screen drama and real-life differences, and these two people had never even met, it wasn't much of a rivalry. The reason this rivalry isn't in 1st place is the fact that they weren't actually original partners. Cook's original partner Naomi had to leave early due to family emergency, thus they bring in Cara as the alternate, so this wasn't actually an original rivals pair, only something that they brought together and used that Twitter beef to kinda say they were rivals for, thus that's why they're not in the number 1 spot. Despite not being rivals, Cook did yell at Cara Maria a lot. In 4th is the partnership of Leroy and Ty from Rivals 2. These two never really had direct interaction on screen in their 2 previous seasons. Yes, Ty beat Leroy in elimination the previous season, but Leroy didn't even participate in the elimination. It all came down to his partner Naomi. She wasn't able to perform, and thus, it's kind of crazy that this partnership ever happened. In fact, it was originally supposed to be Tyler Duckworth, who was supposed to be Leroy's partner. They had a little bit of an argument during Rivals 1 at one point right before the final, and in the end, MTV decided that Ty creates more drama and he'd be better for the show, so they made them partners. As a whole, Ty and Leroy were a very underwhelming partnership, and I think at the end of the day, Tyler would have been a better casting choice. In 3rd place is the Final Reckoning pair of Brad and Kyle. This duo was formed because Brad threw a grenade at Kyle on Vendettas, where Kyle could not participate in a swimming challenge. However, Kyle was the only strong swimmer on a very poor swimming team that consisted of people like Nelson, Cara Maria, Cam, who just aren't good in the water. It was the only viable option. It really wasn't even a big deal at all because Kyle never went into elimination. The reason they got partnered together is because Kyle essentially didn't make any enemies on Vendettas, and they wanted to keep him around as long as possible, so you give him a strong partner in Brad, and that way you keep the Kara-Kyle storyline going on all season. 2nd place is where things just jump a huge amount, and it's the rivalry of Frank Sweeney and Johnny Bananas. Again, this was a Twitter feud. These two people had never done a season together and had loads of potential rivalries they could have been with. It is rumored that Johnny Bananas may have been partnered with Dunbar. I mean, there's Dunbar, there's West, there's CT. There's all these people you could have put Johnny Bananas with, and instead he got the person he's never done a season with. And I think as a whole, this was a way to make sure that both Frank and Johnny stayed as long as possible since they were very strong players. And the fact is, if they had been on the season together and not been paired up, they probably would have went after one another. Considering the final product of Rivals 2 was quite good, and Frank and Bananas were a good pair on that season, I can't complain too much. At the same time, there is part of me that thinks the show had a higher potential had these two individuals been partnered with other people. Before I name the 1st place team, I'm going to give some honorable mentions. 2 pairs that barely missed out on the list: Nelson and Amanda on Rivals 3, John A and Nani Rivals 2, Devin and Cheyenne Rivals 3, Nate and Christina Rivals 3, and Leroy and Avery for Rivals 3. As you can tell, the rivalries for Rivals 3 weren't that strong. And in 1st place is the Final Reckoning pair of Amanda Garcia and Zach Nichols. These two never had one on-screen interaction together, had maybe half of a tweet of an interaction together, yet they were partnered together because Amanda was mortal enemies with Zach's girlfriend, Jenna. A main reason this partnership occurred is because MTV wanted Amanda on the cast but they had given Cara Maria away to Marie. They gave away Jenna away to Jemmy. They gave Kayla to Kaylee, and Camilla had been kicked off the show. Thus, they could put Zach and Amanda together. That's a strong duo, and they will create drama throughout the season, and they'll probably stay for a decent amount of time. What's funny is that this duo actually won the most daily challenges of all the teams all season and had a really good shot of winning. Yet, even though they were the duo with the least amount of rivalry before the show had started, in between the two, they had the most animosity between each other. There is a perfect irony to the fact that on most rival seasons, people who get paired together end up becoming friends for life. Meanwhile, these two people got partnered together and had no rivalry beforehand and became rivals after the season. Part of me did hate to see this team who easily could have won the season just throw their game away in one fall swoop. At the same time, we're living in a world where Zach Nichols didn't get the choice to steal $500,000 from Amanda, and Zach doesn't deserve that after everything he's done in his life. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day.